Greetings.
All right. Welcome to TechSociety.fm. You're with Alex and John.
Hello, world.
And today we're going to talk about starting a technology business, a technology startup, when you're not technical and you don't have a technical co-founder. You just have a great idea for a software product.
So if you're not technically minded, why should you start a technology business?
I mean, if you're risk averse, you probably shouldn't.
Okay.
But we're past that point. We're past that. You've decided that this is what you want to do, and
it's going to change the world.
Your idea is going to make the world a better place.
Okay.
And make you fabulously wealthy
So the focus of this talk is you're missing this. You have this gap of knowledge in your business, a technical gap.
Massive gap considering that's what you want to do.
That's right.
It's kind of like you want to start a F1 racing team and you don't know anything about cars.
That's like me. If I started one, yeah.
Yeah. So we're past that point of should you do it? You're doing it.
Yes.
No matter what, you're going to figure it out. That's fine. A lot of people do, and a lot of people are successful doing that. But you need that capability.
How do you find it? Right. That's the question here. So you need a technical founder, a co-founder, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, a technical co-founder is the most ideal solution. As we've discussed before, though, a co-founder is not an employee. They're not. They're more than a friend. You'll end up spending more time with them than your spouse, easily.
I can totally understand that.
So you can't just advertise for a CTO, a technical co-founder,
because you have to know them first anyway.
Yeah,
that's true.
They need to be aligned with your idea, your culture, your idea for culture, your everything. You need to be more aligned than not.
Yeah. In addition to the technical co-founder, you need someone to build the tech as well.
Yes.
The co-founder is usually too busy to do this kind of stuff. In an early stage, the co-founder can build a proof of concept.
It's Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak.
Yeah.
You got Jobs out there selling the dream. Wozniak actually doing the building. He's your CTO, your early stage startup CTO.
Yeah. So if this is such a complicated thing to do to find the co-founder, you can't just advertise for it.
You shouldn't advertise for it. Absolutely.
You can't just interview someone for it.
No, this is not someone you find on Indeed.
So what do you do? How where do I go? Who do I talk to? What's the plan?
Well, first thing you should do is at least immerse yourself in the culture and go to meetups for startups and programmers and software developers and meet people who could potentially be a co-founder.
Programmers love to hang out in meetups and talk about tech.
Yeah,
I've been to a lot of meetups and I've run into a lot of startups or people trying to start their own business as well.
Yeah,
and they're just there. And it's a good start just to see what's going on.
It's also you will pick up things in that world. You're never going to learn a program. You're well past that point. But you will at least gain some knowledge, some perspective, and hopefully some friends and advisors who will be able to help you. And maybe you'll find someone who you click with and who loves your idea as much as you do, and you have a technical co-founder.
So it has to happen naturally.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you're not going to just marry someone that you advertised for in the paper, right? I mean, not normal people.
Hopefully not.
And this is very similar than that.
Yeah,
absolutely. What if you don't find anyone who will be a co-founder, who loves your idea enough to jump on board for no money?
Oh wow! Well, wait. So if you do find this person,
no.
Or if you can't,
you can't. Then what?
Well, if passion doesn't speak, there are people that will do it. In exchange for compensation of some sort. It's not too hard. You'd find a lot of really passionate programmers at these kind of meetups anyway. And at the very least, they'll give you advice.
Yes.
They just sometimes it's unsolicited advice. Sometimes it's advice that you actually want. But at the end of the day, they will tell you their opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's valuable.
It's very valuable for an early stage startup. Absolutely.
Especially if you're not technical as well.
But you've decided that you need to find a software company. You still have no technical co-founder, no one with technical knowledge in your team.
You can't just go to a software company then and just pay the money. It doesn't really work that way, because then the software company will find it very easy to take your money.
Yes, and take you for a ride.
Yeah.
And my advice is you need to find an entrepreneurial software company. And what is an entrepreneurial software company?
It's a software company that has a very entrepreneurial spirit. I think it's most software companies aren't that.
Yes. Yeah,
the reason is because software consulting can be pretty dry. It's requirements. You build to spec. You kind of deploy it.
They just make software for people.
Yeah.
They don't care about the business of software. They just offer a service for money.
That's right. So that's the gap. So you have non-entrepreneurial software companies that just do what they're told, I guess.
Would you say that that's the norm, right?
Yeah, of course.
I feel that's the norm.
I've none come to the top of my head, except for a couple that we're familiar with.
Yes. I consider our company an entrepreneurial software company.
Yeah. So what is an entrepreneurial software company?
Okay. So I think an entrepreneurial software company is one that focuses on the commercials. I think an entrepreneurial software company understands that, as a startup, or even not as a startup, even as a small to medium-sized enterprise, that this is a risk. You're building a software product, which is a risk. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. It's often a guess.
Yeah.
Even if you do, we'll talk about testing the market later, but it's a risk. It's always a big risk. And so an entrepreneurial software company understands that. They don't try to bilk you for features. Try and sell you the world, boil the ocean.
And they can compromise where it makes sense.
Yeah, they minimize the risk. They focus on that return on investment, and they make the tough decisions. I think from our experience, I think one of the things that sets us apart is that we don't just build anything. Entrepreneurial software company doesn't just take any old project, any old idea. They themselves market test it amongst themselves. Is this a good fit for that software company? They probably want to take equity in the idea for reduced rates. They want to have skin in the game there, and they want to enjoy in the success when it's there. So they actually believe in the idea. How many projects of ideas have come on our doors and we've kind of gone, I don't see it.
That's a terrible idea, or it just won't work. Or have you done?
I mean, we don't say that to people. It's a bit mean telling someone.
No, but you do have to.
You ask them the hard questions.
Yeah, that's right. Like, actually, this happened recently. I won't name who, but I asked them, like, have you spoken to anyone about this? They haven't. Have you
talked to businesses, talked to potential customers, done surveys?
That's the easy stuff, Just actually, you don't need the technical knowledge to be able to do that.
That's true. I don't think it's so much easy, and I don't think people think about it.
No, but they can do it without kicking off the software game, right?
I think almost everyone in this world suffers from thinking that everyone is like them. So how many times have you gone looking for a product? You think, I really want this thing. And you search and you can't find it. And you're like, maybe there's a gap in the market. Maybe this is a great idea. I can build it.
Yeah.
But really, the only person in the world who wants it is you, and no one else wants it, and it's a terrible idea.
Or there's a reason why it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Right. So maybe there are other people that want it, but it hasn't happened for some reason.
At the same time, I do have to couch that with, that's not always the case either. Great example, Airbnb. They came up with the idea, they shopped it around, and everyone hated it. Everyone said, why would you want to sleep, and why would you want to have strangers sleep in your house?
Yeah.
And, look at it now. Airbnb is a massive success. So it's not always the case. I think if you really believe in your idea, you can push past all that negativity. But you should also be able to then convince other people why your idea is actually good.
That's right.
But an entrepreneurial software company will have to believe in your idea to actually work on it with you. Otherwise, their time is better spent elsewhere, because they're not in the game of just billing hourly amounts.
Well, they're invested in your success.
Yes. Well, in their success, the shared success.
That's right.
That's an entrepreneurial software company, and I truly don't believe there's many anywhere.
Why not?
Well, I just don't think there's that many entrepreneurial.
You need a special
people.
mindset, and it's a business, commercial mindset, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people that just run consultancies don't have that.
Yes, they just make apps.
Yeah.
They make apps. You know, they'll try and sell you as many features as possible because that's just more money for them. Entrepreneurial software programmer goes, okay, here's the dream list. 80% of it you don't need.
Yeah.
It could be the roadmap for the future, but to get to market, to actually make some money from this thing, you don't need all this stuff. Whereas you go to a standard software company and they're adding things. They're adding things that you don't even need 5 years down the line. They're billing you.
Yep.
That's all they care about. So
that's what you need to find.
Yeah.
Someone who's like that, or a company who has that kind of mindset.
Yes.
And then from there, you can work together to make your dreams a reality.
Yeah. And, I think this advice, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I think this advice applies to everything as an entrepreneur. If you can surround yourself with other entrepreneurial companies, you're probably going to do a lot better.
That's where the networking comes in as well.
Yeah, you have to have a good network.
Just going just networking, going to events, meeting people like yourself who want to create things.
And successful investors who have worked with entrepreneurs, who know other who know other energetic entrepreneurial people running entrepreneurial companies.
Yeah.
They're definitely out there.
You just have to find them. You have to put yourself out there to connect with them.
Yeah. So let's say you can't afford that entrepreneurial software company, sadly. So
next step is to find someone to join you in your venture.
Well, no, I think the next step at this point is to test your idea without writing any code, without building anything.
Just talking to people, or
yeah. Let's say your idea is Tinder for Uber for dogs.
Okay.
Uber for dogs, Tinder for cats.
Okay.
You go to who you think is the target market. You just ask them.
Yeah.
Is this a good idea?
Start off with boots on the ground. So you actually go to the dog park, find all the dog owners, go to online and ask on there. Just ask people, would you use this? Would you pay for this? Why and why not? Yeah,
exactly. Ask them if they can think of cool things that could do, cool features you've not thought of.
Yeah.
There's tons of things you can ask people to informally test your ideas. Ask them how much they would be prepared to pay for it.
Yeah. And surprisingly, a lot of people won't do this step.
Yes.
They just assume that everyone wants an Uber for dogs.
No one does this step. Well, I've not seen it. I'm sure they do. They probably go to...
But not systematically. Not. I need to answer these business questions.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We go back to, they think everyone's like them. Everyone wants the same problem solved.
Yeah.
And, you just because you want it solved doesn't mean it can be solved. Or it doesn't mean people paid for it to be solved.
Yeah, exactly.
See a lot of great ideas that I just wouldn't pay money for.
Use it for free, though.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to market your idea first. Survey Monkey, like surveys.
Just Reddit, great as well.
Social media,
Yeah.
If your idea is B2C, then Facebook advertising works well.
Yeah.
If it's B2B, then LinkedIn, although LinkedIn is crazy expensive, but that's how you reach people. Or actually, if you're B2B, you should just go talk to those businesses,
which is difficult in itself.
I don't think it is, honestly. If I got an email and anyone listening does not give you the right to, or not the right, I don't want to say that. If anyone listening, this is not giving you the permission to just email me out of the blue. But if I got an email from a entrepreneur wanting to do a startup and he said, just want to ask you a couple questions. Yeah, like, is this a problem in your business? What do you think of this space? Like a basic description of the solution, and would you be prepared to pay for it? I would answer that.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy. The email is very quick. I would say, yes. Yes. Yes, free. That's simple.
And also, it actually helps getting your pitch in shape as well.
Yeah.
Just being able to explain your idea quickly, succinctly, effectively is a skill in itself.
Yeah.
And if you can't even do that, then you might not be ready to engage business or a developer to build it for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree. And you can go further than even just asking questions. You could totally get a landing page started, just a quick website knocked up in WordPress, or even one of those
Wix, Squarespace builders things.
Even one of those landing page, just roll out a landing page.
Oh, there's generators as well.
Yeah, like Unbounce and what's the other one? Rocket Pages or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it'll be a brief of your idea.
Yeah. You create it as if the idea already exists.
Yeah. You just tell people go to uberfordogs.com.
Yeah.
It's all there. Check it out.
Describe your product.
Then it's not one-to-one. You can scale that out. You can send it to 1 million people.
Yeah.
They could all look at your website.
You can have a registration form on there for anyone who's interested. You just say, "Are you interested in this?"
Yeah.
Sign up to our newsletter to find out when it launches. And if you get people signing up, then people are interested. And what have you lost? You've lost nothing.
Yeah. And you've gained all that money that you would have spent on an idea that may not have worked.
That's right. This is almost free.
Yeah.
Almost. Almost.
But it's just your time and effort as well.
Yeah. Well, you're going into a startup, so you've already decided that's not worth much.
But the compared to the amount of hardship and horrible, disasters that can happen if you're just not ready for it, it's a critical step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and now you know. Now you know whether
without ever having to really commit to a multi-year project.
That's right. And don't worry about anyone stealing your idea.
Yeah, that's a common one, isn't it?
It's crazy. If someone can steal your idea and execute it, they're going to anyway, and they obviously have more money than you.
Yeah.
So,
fine.
Just trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
The amount of people, look, I don't mind signing NDAs, but I always want to tell those people, your idea is not original.
Most ideas aren't.
99.99999%. The only thing that sets you apart from other people who had your idea is that you're executing it. You're actually making things happen.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Most people go, I've got a great idea, and they tell their mates at the pub and they never do anything with it. So you're already better than 99% of the people who have your idea. If there is still a sliver of people who can steal your idea and replicate it and do it better than you, then they're going to anyway.
Yeah.
So you should be telling as many people as possible, because then you become in your network
the guy
doing
that
thing.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really valuable. Yeah, like investors might find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the value of, because it reminds me, we've come across quite a few people that just can't tell you the idea.
Oh, they're so secretive, so protective.
Yeah.
Which I get.
It's so valuable to them, but the true value is the time and effort that you put into
That's right.
the idea itself.
Yeah. And
the idea is like the inception of the business.
Yes.
But still not a business.
No, and your idea is not worth anything.
That's right.
So don't ask for money for your idea.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. That's another podcast episode. But share it as far and as wide as you can. Try to get as many people as you can talking about your idea, giving you feedback.
And that's that feedback is valuable as well.
Yep. And then you might find your technical co-founder. You might find your entrepreneurial software programmer. Here's your idea. It says
just by evangelizing it. Really, yeah. It
says, this is a great idea. I want in. Trust me, they're not going to do it themselves, because if they could, well, it's not about could. If they wanted to, they would.
Yeah. And
ultimately, they probably don't want to run that kind of business, but they want to be part of it. A lot of people, investors, CTOs, potential co-founders, they want to be part of it. They don't want to run it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a totally different energy. Yeah,
and that's where you come in, fellow entrepreneur. You're driving it with your idea, with your passion, with the time and effort needed to evangelize the concept.
Yes.
Networking, putting yourself
Build a
out
network.
there.
Be the guide or the girl doing it out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're an investor in an early stage startup with no technical co-founder, then you should be pushing them down this line.
Yep.
An investor on an early stage startup hopefully is not giving them much money, a few thousand. Get the landing page going, get the surveys going, get the maybe some wireframes drawn up. The founder should be able to do that, and we'll have a link to our episode where we mention wireframing.
Yep,
it's very important.
That's
get
enough,
out there.
Yeah. And then that's building the brand awareness.
Yep.
And the impact of everything, and it means that people will talk to you about it.
Do spend money on a good logo.
Yes.
I think that's my only advice for spending money. Get a good logo.
Yeah.
Don't cheap out. Don't go to friggin' 99 Designs. Like, find a good designer and pay them $500 or $1,000. I don't care. You can get a good logo for that. You can find someone good on Behance who will make a nice logo for you.
And practice your pitch.
Yeah.
That's important too.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of not nailing the pitch, because you just get better and better at it the more you do it.
Yeah, it becomes second nature after a while.
Yeah. So if you're an entrepreneur wanting to start your own tech startup, test your ideas. Test. Do as much work as you can before you go and spend money with software developers.
And put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Go to these networks.
Don't be afraid of sharing your idea. No one's going to steal it. No one's going to steal it. Other people have come up with it before. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
So
go to the meetups.
Yeah.
Just tell them what you're working on.
Meetups, networks, everything. Go hang out with software developers.
Hang out with entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah.
So other business owners.
Yeah.
And just having a sounding board to bounce ideas off.
Go to the angel investors events. Don't pitch. You're not ready.
Just listen.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah. Talk to people. Tell people your idea. Tell people what you want to do. People will help you. Yeah. People will help you. And then when you're ready, go find an entrepreneurial software programmer or entrepreneurial software company and get going.
Yeah. Pretty much it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Like and subscribe, obviously. Any questions, you can send us an email at info@techsociety.fm or hit us up in our Telegram group or YouTube. Anywhere where there's comment section, we'll find you.
All the things.
We're
happy to help.
Yeah. All right. Signing off.
See you later.
Peace.